For years, you've been building a life the world tells you is enviable. You've hit the gym religiously, carving out a body that turns heads. Your business? Thriving. Your lifestyle? Polished, curated, envied. You drive the kind of car that gleams like a trophy under the morning sun. Your wardrobe whispers class in every stitch. You speak with precision, walk with certainty, and live with the kind of discipline that commands respect. To the outside world, you've made it. You've become the man that books, mentors, and podcasts told you women dream about. Ambitious, refined, and successful. And yet, there's a quiet truth you can't escape. You go on dates that lead nowhere. You hold conversations that flicker and fade. You notice their politeness, but not their passion. They smile, they nod, but that spark, that raw magnetic pull, it's not there. You chase. They tolerate. And in the silence that follows, you can't help but ask yourself, what am I missing? Across the city, maybe even across the table, there's another man. He's not you. His clothes are plain. His car, a decade old. His bank account, far from impressive. But women are drawn to him like he holds some forbidden secret. They text him first. They laugh harder at his jokes. They talk about him with a sparkle in their eyes, like he's carved a space in their minds they can't shake off. And you're left wondering, how? How does he, with so little, ignite something in women that you, with so much, can't? Here's the truth no one told you. You've been lied to. Not by one person, but by a culture, a system, a lifelong conditioning that taught you attraction is a checklist. Success status, looks charm. And once you collect them all, desire will just follow. But what if that formula, the one you've sacrificed so much to master, is upside down? What if all your external wins, your achievements, your status, your crafted image, are actually the very things muting your magnetism? This isn't about blaming you. It's about freeing you from a lie that's cost you not just time, but connection. Because female attraction isn't logical. It's emotional, energetic, spiritual. It's not about what you wear, but how you feel. Not what you show, but what you hold back. And here's the twist. The man who doesn't chase, who isn't trying, who isn't performing, he becomes the addiction. Why? Because attraction isn't won by effort. It's triggered by energy. And if you're ready to peel back the layers, to unlearn what never worked and embody what does, then this journey will not only shift your love life, it'll transform how you see yourself. Welcome to the part of the male experience no one teaches but every man must discover. Let's start with a hard truth that most men never get the chance, or the courage, to confront. You've been chasing ghosts. Somewhere along the way, you were handed a script. Maybe by your father, maybe by culture, maybe by influencers in tailored suits. It told you, become more, show more, own more, and then you'll be loved. So you did. You built the body, you collected the toys, you rehearsed the lines, you trained yourself to be the man you thought she wanted. But deep down, you know it's not working. Because despite all that, women still feel just out of reach. They smile, they nod, they thank you for dinner. But the fire, the pull, that overwhelming need to be near you, it's missing. And here's why. You're operating from the checklist delusion. You've been taught that attraction is a linear equation. Build value, display value, receive affection. It's logical, predictable, safe. But attraction is none of those things. It isn't a formula, it's not rational, it's energetic. The more you prove your worth, the more she senses you don't believe in it. And that is where everything breaks down. You see, women are not drawn to your possessions. They're drawn to the space between your words, the energy in your stillness, the confidence you don't announce, the mystery you don't explain. True attraction is born in presence, not presentation. And here's the twist that flips the whole game. Most of the things you think make you irresistible, they're actually defense mechanisms. The car, the clothes, the charm, they're layers of armor. But armor doesn't attract love, it repels it. Because she's not looking to date your mask. She's looking to feel your essence. And if your identity is built on needing her to see you, you'll never let her see the real you. That's what makes this so painful. You're not lacking effort. You're just aiming it at the wrong target. Because women don't become addicted to what you show. They become addicted to what you feel like. And that feeling, that magnetic presence, doesn't come from achievement. It comes from alignment. It's when the man inside the mirror finally stops performing and starts existing. So if you've ever wondered why your success feels empty, why despite doing everything right, love feels just out of reach, the problem isn't you. The problem is the story you've been sold. And once you see that, you begin to reclaim a kind of power that no amount of money or muscle can imitate. Let's step into the real battlefield. Not the gym, not the boardroom, not the dating apps, but the space within yourself. Because while you were chasing upgrades, better abs, better suits, better routines, you overlooked the one thing that actually creates obsession in women. Energy. Not charm, not looks, but that subtle, unshakable energy that says, I'm already whole. You see, true attraction doesn't begin with what you say to her. It begins with the vibe you radiate before you say a single word. It's in the calm behind your eyes, the way you hold eye contact without flinching. The silence you don't rush to fill. That stillness, that groundedness, that effortless presence. That's what pulls her in. Not because you're trying, but because you're not trying at all. Most men live in performance mode, subtly trying to impress, seeking signals that say, did she like that? Did she notice me? And that need, that craving to be seen, it leaks into your energy like a slow poison. Because here's the truth. The moment you need her validation to feel enough, you give away the very thing she's looking for. Certainty. Women are not magnetized by your resume. They're magnetized by your rootedness. A man who is deeply okay in his own skin. A man who doesn't flinch under her tests, her silence, her hot and cold storms. That man is rare. And rarity, it creates value. Let's be clear. We're not talking about pretending to be alpha. We're talking about the man who doesn't need to pretend at all. He's not cold or arrogant. He's not chasing or avoiding. He just is. And when a woman encounters a man like that, it shakes her. Because in a world full of needy men and masked personalities, authentic groundedness feels dangerous and irresistible. He doesn't push. He doesn't pull. He simply holds space. And women lean in. It's not a tactic. It's not game. It's inner architecture. It's what happens when you stop living from lack and start living from presence. Think about this. How many times have you felt a man's energy shift the moment he sensed a woman losing interest? He tries harder, texts faster, over-explains, panics. But the man who is truly unshakable, he doesn't chase. He lets her go, because he knows this unshakable truth. My value was never up for debate. And that, right there, that energetic certainty, it's what makes her unable to stop thinking about you. Not because you gave her attention, but because you gave her an experience of something she almost never feels. Safety. The kind of emotional safety that whispers, you can unravel here. I won't flinch. And that, my friend, is how obsession begins. Let's talk about the one behavior that quietly destroys male presence. The hidden urge that feels harmless, but kills attraction at the root. Validation seeking. Not the obvious kind. Not compliments or begging for love notes. No, it's subtler, more dangerous. It's the way you adjust your tone to sound more impressive. The way you over-explain a message when she replies late. The way you scan her face during a date, hoping to see that flicker of approval. It's the part of you that whispers, am I good enough now? That question, left unanswered, becomes your prison. Because when a woman senses that you need her attention to feel whole, you instantly lose the one thing that creates addiction: emotional autonomy. Understand this: women are not attracted to need. They're attracted to choice. When your value depends on her reaction, you become emotionally volatile. She becomes the center of your identity. And no matter how polished you appear on the outside, inside she can feel it. That quiet desperation, that need for a gold star, that invisible question: am I finally enough for you to want me? And it shatters the energy that once drew her in. This is what I call the validation death spiral. The more you seek her attention to feel worthy, the less she gives it. The less she gives it, the more you chase. The more you chase, the more she pulls away. Until you're stuck wondering, what did I do wrong? And the tragic answer is, you tried too hard to be chosen, instead of choosing yourself. Let that land. Because here's the paradox most men never grasp. The more approval you need, the less she feels the desire to offer it. But the man who stands complete in himself, who doesn't flinch at rejection, who doesn't require praise to feel whole, that man becomes a mystery. He doesn't pursue to prove. He doesn't convince. He doesn't chase. He invites. And that energetic shift, from needing to choosing, it changes everything. Here's what's wild. You can be successful. You can be attractive. You can check every box on the paper. But if you still walk through life quietly, hoping to be validated, you'll always find yourself under-chosen and over-efforting. Because women, on a deeply intuitive level, can feel the emotional wobble in a man. The men who create obsession, they aren't flawless. They aren't trying. They're simply at peace with who they are, even when no one is watching. Even when they don't get the text back. Even when she goes cold. Even when they stand alone. And that is when a woman begins to feel something she can't explain. Not because he did more, but because he needed nothing from her in return. There's something about a man who's fully present. He's not scrolling his phone. He's not waiting to speak. He's not calculating moves in his head like a chessboard of seduction. He's just here, with her, with himself, with the moment. And that stillness, it's rare. And rarity creates gravity. You see, most men are everywhere but here. They're in the past, thinking about what they should have said. Or they're in the future, crafting strategies to impress. And in doing so, they leave the one place attraction can actually occur: the now. A woman doesn't fall for you through logic. She falls through emotion. And the emotion begins the moment she feels your presence. Because presence is safety. And safety is power. Think about this. When you're with someone who listens fully, who looks you in the eyes without flinching, who isn't afraid of silence, you feel something awaken. That's what she feels too. Because when a man is present, he isn't trying to escape the moment. He's anchored in it. He's not performing. He's not fixing. He's not chasing. He's just witnessing. And in that space, a woman begins to soften. Not because you told her to, not because you impressed her, but because your stillness invited her surrender. This is the beginning of real polarity. Masculine energy is direction, stillness, presence. Feminine energy is emotion, movement, expression. And when a man reclaims his center, when he no longer flinches at her emotions, her tests, her waves, he becomes the one thing she cannot control, and therefore cannot forget. That's the paradox of power. When you stop trying to control attraction, you become attractive. When you stop reacting to her moods, you become the mood. You're no longer thrown off by cold texts or shifting signals. You're no longer pulled into proving or persuading. Instead, you just hold your frame. And that frame becomes a container, a space where she can feel, unravel, expand. And that experience? It's addictive. Because while most men try to win her over, the grounded man gives her something far more rare. A place to be fully herself without judgment or performance. And in return, she starts showing up for him with a depth and hunger that logic cannot explain. So if you want to become unforgettable, don't add more noise. Don't chase, prove, or explain. Subtract. Subtract the anxiety, the need, the performance. What's left is the real you, the calm, the depth, the rootedness. And that is what she feels, days after the conversation ends. That's what echoes when your name comes up. That's what lingers when she closes her eyes at night. Not the words you said, but the man you were, when you said nothing at all. Here's the truth you were never told, but always felt beneath the surface. Most of your goals were never really yours. The six-pack, the luxury car, the high income, they weren't born from your soul. They were installed, quietly, invisibly, by a world that profits from your insecurity. And like most men, you believed it. You thought success would cure the loneliness. That validation would silence the doubt. That once you became enough, love would come easily. But it didn't. Because you weren't chasing attraction. You were chasing approval. And approval is a cage. You shape yourself to be liked. You chase applause instead of alignment. And in the process, you abandon the one person who could have made you magnetic all along. Yourself. Let that land. Because this is where everything shifts. The men women become addicted to aren't always rich. They're not always ripped. They're not always charismatic. But they share one sacred trait. They have nothing to prove. Why? Because they've already chosen themselves. They've stopped waiting for the world to tell them they're enough. They don't need permission to be powerful. They don't need her to validate who they are. And this changes everything. Because confidence built on possessions is fragile. One bad month, one market crash, one breakup, and it shatters. But confidence rooted in self-acceptance, that's eternal. It's the man who says, I'm not perfect, but I'm whole. I have flaws, but I'm still enough. I'm growing, but I'm not chasing completion in someone else. That man becomes magnetic, not because he wants to be, but because he doesn't need to be. He's the calm in the chaos, the lighthouse in the storm, the emotionally untouchable presence that women feel in their bones. And in a world of noise, distraction, and desperate performances, she remembers him, not because he gave her butterflies, but because he gave her gravity. So here's your choice now. Keep chasing the checklist. Keep tweaking your image. Keep hoping the next level will finally make you worthy. Or stop. Pause. Turn inward. And ask the only question that ever mattered. Who am I when I'm not performing? Because the journey isn't about becoming more. It's about becoming true. And in that truth, in that grounded, untouchable, quietly powerful version of yourself, is the man she'll never forget. The one who doesn't chase obsession, because he is the obsession. And once you live from that place, you won't just attract women. You'll attract the life you were meant to live. One of peace, one of presence, one of unshakable power that no one can give you, and no one can take away.